Hello everybody, Joshua back here again with another video, and I'm here to give you another Who Would Win battle episode. Yes, it's that time of the week again, so let's get right down into Joshua 12's Who Would Win battles. That being said, when I was finished doing my Wave 1 of my Who Would Win battles, I did suggest the fact that I was interested in doing rematches for fallen heroes that battled in my fictional imaginary arena. And of course I got a request to bring back the Hulk from the grave to fight in Wave 2. Now obviously, at the end of the day, my most debatable fight out of Wave 1 has to be hands down my fight between the Hulk and Broly. A lot of people still go to that video, watch, and comment below giving me their personal thoughts on who they think would personally win. A lot of people are divided on that fight to this day. A lot of people feel like no one on Dragon Ball Z could ever beat any character from Marvel, let alone the Hulk. A lot of people believe that no one in comic books could ever beat a character from Dragon Ball Z. It's a very divided subject, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because my opinion is a subjective opinion, and to this day, I still feel that Broly beats Hulk. I mean, out of all the things I've seen Hulk do from the comic books, and the movies, and the cartoons, and so on and so forth, etc., etc., I just feel like Broly would win. I mean, he just would annihilate the guy, and I love both characters, but that's just my personal subjective opinion, but yours is also valid, and I appreciate all of them. But that being said, I got a request to bring back Hulk from the dead and put him in this rematch to redeem himself, or at least hopefully redeem himself against the diabolical creature from the depths of prehistoric Krypton, known as Doomsday, from the DC Universe. Yes, it's time to have the Incredible Hulk from the Marvel Universe take on Doomsday from the DC Universe. It's going to be a very interesting battle, and I mostly say that on my perception of how this fight would have went down. When I first got the request, I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting, Hulk and Doomsday? That's pretty cool, because when you look at it in the surface, it could be very, very one-sided. Based on my personal opinion, intelligence, Hulk is smarter than Doomsday. Doomsday's not that smart or intelligent. He's just a defense mechanism, destructive creature that just bent on destroying Kryptons. Hulk, on the other hand, has intelligence. He has the brain of Bruce Banner, who is one of the most intelligent characters in the Marvel Universe. So it's going to be a very interesting fight. But when you get down to the powers and abilities of both characters, it really makes you rethink this rematch and be like, this might go in a different direction, so that's why I'm doing this. That being said, I gotta remind everyone who's watching this, because I know by the end of this fight, some people are gonna be like, bullshit, you're an idiot, why am I listening to you? I need to make it perfectly clear. The end of the day, it's my unbiased, subjective opinion. You don't have to, believe what I personally say. At the end of the day, you go to the comment section below of this video, or you can go to my Twitter, at Josh12, twitter.com, using the hashtag Who Would Win Hulk versus Doomsday, and let me know what you personally think, who would have won, or who could win in that kind of fictional fight, because remember, these are fictional characters, so let's not get over exaggerated with, crazy, insane theories and, speculations, what have you. But I do appreciate them. So give me a brief one, at least. A brief one would do. Not a paragraph, just a brief statement. And that I'll be, happy and I'll sleep at night. But that being said, let's move off of that and get into Doomsday's powers and abilities. Yes, let's start off with Doomsday and discuss his powers and abilities. Of course, Doomsday has a very unique physiology, which is the first thing that you need to realize when discussing the character Doomsday. He's just not a rage monster. There's a lot more to Doomsday than meets the eye. Not to, use a Transformers reference, but I'm going to use it anyways. But that being said, Doomsday was created and evolved through cloning an infant and having it killed over and over again by one of the most dangerous species and one of the harshest habitats in existence and environments, which is basically prehistoric Krypton, as I mentioned earlier. And his entire body is built as essentially a gigantic structured defense mechanism, which continues to arm itself every single time it gets damaged. But moving off of that, he has energy resistance, accelerated healing. He has a form of healing factor that allows him to heal and regenerate, obviously, a majority of damage that he contains almost instantly. He has power replication, which is essentially his ability to store special powers from special super metahumans that he's in immediate proximity of. So essentially, with using that ability, he can absorb. He can use these absorption cells to replicate and store abilities from the metahumans that he continues to fight, which is going to be a major factor in this fight. He also has superhuman strength, and he has invulnerability. He can also survive in space, and it doesn't require oxygen, water, or any form of nourishment to maintain himself. He has superhuman stamina, superhuman speed, and of course, incapable of flight, but he also has the ability to super leap, which is essentially kind of similar to the Incredible Hulk. But that being said, let's move off of that, go into the Incredible Hulk's powers and abilities. Obviously, Hulk is known for his transformation process from going from Bruce Banner and transforming into the Hulk. But moving off of that, he has unlimited strength. Hulk basically has the ability or the capacity for virtually being limitless, physically wise, and he can pretty much can continue to surpass his base strength just by getting angrier and angrier. But moving off of that, he has superhuman leaping, kind of similar to Doomsday. He has the incapability of flying. The Incredible Hulk also has superhuman strength utilization, which is essentially his ability to inhale great quantities of air and usually using them as effects in his attacks. He also has superhuman stamina, vast invulnerability, and of course a healing factor that Incredible Hulk and majority of most Marvel characters are known for. He also has a disease immunity, and of course he has a very decelerated aging process. He has superhuman speed, reactive adaptation, underwater breathing, increased sonic resistance, and of course astral form perception, which is essentially his ability to see ghosts and astral forms, homing abilities, gamma radiation, and energy manipulation, which is essentially his power that's mostly associated with gamma radiation, which is an ability that he can use to essentially manipulate forms of energy and use them. And of course he has super genius level intellect. Dr. Bruce Banner is obviously a super genius within the Marvel Universe. I've already mentioned that prior. He's also skilled, combatant. He's a very skillful, capable warrior / fighter. He's self-restraint, which means that Banner is, when he's in the Hulk, he can influence the Hulk's behavior and pretty much do whatever he technically wants to do in his Hulk form. He's also has various weaknesses that I don't really think is really necessary to get into, because I don't think majority of his specific weaknesses will work in this fight. But just to name a few, he has weaknesses to adamantium and vibranium, toxic substances, adrenaline suppression, gas and inhalation, magic, and extreme conditions, which essentially basically means that he can be hurt and even killed by characters or individuals that are similar in extraordinary levels of power similar to him. So if he faces off against someone who's basically at par strength with him, he is going to be very hurt or even die in the fight. But that's pretty much a brief rundown of his weaknesses. I think majority of that won't really come into a factor in this fight, other than his inability to survive extreme conditions against characters that are as strong as him, or his his inability to essentially not drain his gamma radiation. But that being said, let's get into this fight. First off, Hulk and Broly. I still got that in my head. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I continue to mention it, but it's still, I did this fight. Let's get into the real fight, which is Hulk versus Doomsday. The interesting thing about Hulk versus Doomsday is that when I first got into this fight, I thought it's very one-sided. Hulk would win. Hulk is strong. He's definitely stronger. He can do a lot of things, but then you get into, it's like, okay, well, they both can't fly. They both have the capabilities of getting stronger and stronger. They're both basically on par with each other when it comes to strength and power, not to mention abilities. But Hulk is smarter, so he would definitely know what to do within the fight. But the interesting thing is that Doomsday will be able to basically use anything Hulk throws at him and use it against him. He has the ability to create the special abilities that Hulk has and use it against him. Doomsday will not stop. He's a destructive monster. So at the end of the day, Hulk versus Doomsday is a very interesting fight that will be very debatable for, time and time again to go, days and days, days of future past, if I could use that reference. However, I think the only real major factor that will come into anyone's favor has to be Incredible Hulk's intelligence, which I don't think will go any farther than Hulk realizing the fact that there is no win in this fight, which comes into the answer of the day, the $1,000,000 question, which is, who would win in this fight, Hulk or Doomsday? At the end of the day, I really don't see either character actually winning. This is the first time I've done this in my Who Would Win Battle series, but I truly think no one would really win in this fight. I thought this theory up prior to, recording this video, but at the same time, I still feel the same. Like, I don't believe anybody would win in that fight. I mean, you could make the argument that Hulk would win or Doomsday could win, but I go back to a specific moment in the death of Superman, which is, of course, the introduction of the character Doomsday, where Doomsday basically fought Superman, and they both killed each other because of how strong both characters were. As we all know, Superman, OP character, Doomsday was essentially created to be a counterbalance to Superman's power to essentially kill him. But at the end of the day, Superman came to the realization that Doomsday's power and strength will continue to go on, and he will be unrelenting. He's an endless creature. Doomsday has proven that he can fight for months. He will fight continuously. He will not stop. He does not get tired easily. Hulk will get tired eventually. He'll get angry and maybe stronger and stronger, but that won't really technically stop Doomsday. And at the end of the day, I feel like Superman's realization of what Doomsday's capabilities were in comparison to his own, which was very vast in power, he came to the realization that the only way to essentially beat this creature was to sacrifice himself, which is a stalemate, a takedown of legends, if you will, which is a headbutt to the death. And that was pretty much the end of both characters. Doomsday died, and Superman died. Of course, not for long, seeing as how they were both reincarnated for various freaking comic book continuities, but I think the same idea and plot would come into a major factor into this. Incredible Hulk, as much people like to debate this idea, I personally, in my bones, or at least in the vast parts of my brain, I don't really believe that Hulk is on par with Superman's strength and power, so he would have a very hard time dealing with Doomsday. Even though he's smarter than him, I still don't think he would be able to be freaking stronger than him to completely annihilate him. But at the same time, they're both on par with a lot of factors. Healing, strength, power, and of course, speed, stamina, durability. They're very on par, so their power will essentially cancel each other out. So I think they'll both have to come up with the realization that they will just kill each other. They're just going to have to die. They're too similar in power and strength. The only difference is Bruce's intelligence, but how much could that really come into a factor? I don't really know. Unless, he can just put him in a ship and ship him off to freaking the Phantom Zone. But I don't see that happening because that's a very sour death of, into this kind of a battle. So at the end of the day, I feel like there is no real winner in this fight. I believe that Hulk and Doomsday, their powers would cancel each other out, and no one would win. They would kill each other. So at the end of the day, that's just my personal opinion. If I had to give you a very, very unbiased opinion, I feel like no character would win in this fight. Hulk and Broly both lose. There is no winner in this fight. But of course, that's my own subjective opinion before everyone gets crazy. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and of course at my Twitter using the hashtag Who Would Win Hulk versus Broly. Hulk versus Doomsday, rather. God, I'm telling you, it's still stuck in my head. I can't get it out. It just slipped. It just sounds better, doesn't it? Hulk versus Broly. It just slips off the tongue. Like, someone make an animated movie of Hulk versus Broly, because it just sounds good coming off the tongue. Hulk versus Broly. That's an event. Hulk versus Doomsday is cool, but Hulk versus Broly just sounds cooler. Just two words. Just two action words, the adjectives, and yeah. But that being said, enough of my ramblings. Hulk versus Doomsday, I say no one wins. It's a stalemate. It's a tie. they both lose. They both kill each other. They both butt heads and essentially die. Their brains explode into various matter and they fall into the ground of a gigantic crater of biblical proportions. That's my personal opinion. Let me know what yours are in the comment section below. But that being said, it's time to tease next week's Who Would Win battle. And that's, of course, a fight with Knuckles from the Sonic universe. And he's going to be going up against Bowser from the Super Mario universe. Yes, two video game characters colliding in a match of biblical proportions. Isn't that going to be nice? Essentially, I had no idea when I got requested to do this fight that Screw Attack was going to use Knuckles in one of their fights. I don't know if they did it yet, but they did tease at the end of Goku vs. Superman that they were going to use Knuckles. I really hope it's not Bowser, because the last thing I need is like people in the comment section going like, "Oh, you stole that from Screw Attack, you freaking loser, you're still fucking butthurt, Goku dick sucker." No, this was a request from viewers. I did not come up with this fight. So I don't know what their fight is, because I don't know. But if it is Bowser, then I'm just saying, the request came first, not their fucking idea. But that being said, this fight that features the character of Knuckles will have no association with what they're doing with their fight with Knuckles. I just want to keep people who are listening keep this in mind when you're writing in the comment section below saying, "Jonctor 12, you're a Goku dick sucker." I want you to keep that in mind. But that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed. I want you guys to hopefully enjoy my prior battles like Piccolo versus Marsh Manhunter, and of course check out my next battle, which is obviously Knuckles versus Bowser, and of course always follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Jonctor12, and of course subscribe to my channel if you've not done so already. I hope you guys enjoyed. Comment below, let me know, and this has been Jonctor12.